Well, guys, we are back once again talking about Superman and Lois Season 2. We have returned this week now to talk about Episode 4 of the season, where there's just so much going on. I mean, I have a full page of notes here. We have a lot to talk about. So, of course, guys, I don't want to waste any time. I want to go ahead and jump right into this. So, spoiler warning, if you've not yet seen the episode, Superman and Lois Season 2, Episode 4. And without further ado, let's jump into this. So the episode starts with a flashback to 5 years ago, where we finally get to see Lois's sister, Lucy Lane, who of course previously appeared in the Arrowverse on Supergirl, and is played by the same actress here, so that's a nice continuity that we've got going on here. But in this scene, she is packing up. We find out she's been staying with Lois and the family, Clark and the boys this whole time, and that she is leaving to move back in with Allie. Allie, of course, being the cult leader that almost got Lucy killed, so that's definitely not a good thing. But this, of course, transitions us back to present day, where we follow up after last week's episode, where Lois is actually having a meeting with Allie. And she says Lucy wasn't dying, she was ascending. And yeah, that is like the most cult leader thing to say ever. I remember in Riverdale, I think it was season 4, or was it? No, I think it was season 3 with the whole Gargoyle King thing. That was like a big thing with ascending. So that's definitely giving me similar vibes here. But yeah, basically this whole Allie person, she is not a good lady. She's very evil, and like I said, she's a cult leader. So, of course, there's some big threats here back and forth between the two of them. And basically, by the end of this, after Allie leaves, Lois realized that she needs to find her sister and get to the bottom of what's going on here. But she actually finds out that the anonymous source that went on the podcast and talked about all this stuff was indeed her sister, Lucy Lane. So, that's kind of making matters even worse, that Lucy's been sucked back into this whole cult thing once again, even after almost committing suicide the first time. But meanwhile, we got to catch up with our villain of the season, or at least one of the villains of the season, with Bizarro, who, of course, we had the big reveal last week's episode. It wasn't Doomsday, it was actually an evil Superman, Bizarro. And I love the way he looks. He looks amazing this episode. Basically a zombified Superman, which is just awesome. Again, I wish he had the purple suit, but still, I'm still liking what we're seeing. I love the tattered cape and everything. He looks great. But we see that he is also having visions very similar to Clark, except it feels like they're kind of having visions of each other's lives, which, again, another reference, kind of reminds me of the Disney Star Wars sequel films, with the whole connection between Rey and Kylo Ren, how they can have, visions of, what each other is seeing. That's what it kind of reminds me of here, because Bizarro is having visions of Clark's family, the kids, Jordan and Jonathan and Lois, while Clark is having visions of when he was in the mines and when just all this destruction and everything. So these visions actually lead Bizarro to going to the Kent farm, and Clark actually kind of sees a little before Bizarro arrives through the visions that Bizarro is on his way. So then we actually get a really cool Bizarro versus Clark Kent fight. It was pretty cool. John Henry, grabs his hammer, breaks up the battle, and Bizarro flies away. But that was a really cool fight. And of course, we get another fight between the two of them later on in the episode, when it's actually Superman versus Bizarro, which was just beautiful as well. But let's talk about some of the smaller storylines that we've got going on here in this episode. Like, for example, with Jordan, who today was out with Sarah and all of a sudden stopped a shoplifter using his super speed. So feels like maybe he could be tapping more into his Superboy side of things and become a vigilante, maybe. I think that'd be pretty cool. And Sam Lane, his grandfather, is actually going to be helping him out with that a bit, or at least he knows about it. And he's like, oh, don't tell anyone, keep it a secret. So I'm definitely interested to see where that goes. I think that's an interesting storyline that I wasn't expecting to see here, but I'm excited to see where it goes. Although, as for the other Kent boy, with Jonathan, we of course know that his girlfriend Cadence is now supplying him with X-Kryptonite, and I theorized, maybe he's just, trying to get some information on her, or, do some mystery solving or whatever. But no, he actually uses it, and he uses it to his advantage. He basically gets juiced up, he gets the extra strength, the extra super eyesight, and basically the powers of Superman, kinda. Basically becoming another kind of Superboy, and he gets to show off his skills during practice now being juiced up just like his competition, Timmy Ryan. So that was not something I expected, but at the same time, this could lead to possibly him having actual powers in the future and, again, basically becoming a Superboy type character. Now we've got some more interesting stuff going on with the whole Lois Lucy cult storyline going on here as well, because Chrissy actually goes undercover as Penelope to one of Allie's meetings, and of course Allie actually ends up recognizing her. But meanwhile we have Lois actually finding Lucy, and their whole conversation, their confrontation between each other is being broadcasted to Allie's meeting. And this kind of turns Chrissy to the point where at the end of the episode, we have actually the big cliffhanger of the episode is Chrissy calling Allie and kind of turning to her side and basically, I think, maybe joining this cult, which is not a good sign. And then also, before we get into the big final Bizarro stuff here as well, I want to talk about the Cushings, because of course we know Lana, she is now running for mayor. She's running against Dean, who is the current mayor, and, you know, Lana really hates that guy. But it turns out Mayor Dean is actually trying to dig up dirt on Lana and the whole family, including Sarah, who of course, you know, she previously tried to commit suicide, so that's really not something that they want out there in the public. But at the end of the episode, when they actually confront Mayor Dean, he says, like, oh yeah, I agree we shouldn't leave our kids out of it, I'm not going after her. But Kyle, you know, he says something about, like, Kyle and his drinking habits, and then we actually see this, I'm so annoyed but also love it at the same time. This big reveal that Kyle goes to a bar, and the female bartender says, like, hey, the guys have been missing you around here, but especially me, I've really been missing you. And she, like, puts her hand on his, clearly signifying that he has been having an affair. At least, you know, seems like it's been a while, but at least at one point had an affair. And this is the kind of dirt that Mayor Dean could use against Lana and really just destroy her whole life and destroy their marriage and their family. And this is some big stuff that I was not expecting. I mean, like, pretty much all of season 1 was not a big fan of Kyle. End of it kind of redeemed him for me. Been loving him this season so far. He's a great guy. Then you get this. Oh, Kyle's not such a great guy. But man, it's interesting. It's an interesting storyline, and I'm excited to see where things go from here. But finally, people, let's get into this big final battle with Bizarro, as Anderson's super team is actually getting an alert about Bizarro being in Bolivia, so they go out there to fight him. But meanwhile, Clark is actually getting visions of their battle, again, kind of seeing what each other are seeing, and 2 of these super people are dead. The only one that's left is Tag, who of course, you know, we saw a couple episodes ago, made his return. So then Superman comes in and Tag escapes. Steel heads in there as well, and it was just a great battle seeing Superman versus Bizarro. It was really fun, really entertaining, loved the choreography, and by the end of it, Superman doesn't defeat Bizarro, but he punches him up into the atmosphere, and we don't see what happens to him, but I assume he's, like, up in space somewhere, which probably isn't really a good thing either. I mean, like, sure, he's gone for now, but he's come back. But before Superman punched Bizarro up into the atmosphere, Bizarro heavily injured John Henry Irons. Like, his whole suit is busted, so now he's in the hospital. Natalie is so upset, and I honestly thought for a second that he could be dead. Now, we see that when he's in the hospital, he has a heartbeat, he's good, he's alive, at least for now, but I did have a feeling he could be dead, and I was both super upset with that idea, but then again, could see how that could work. Because I love the character John Henry Irons, and I love seeing him as Steel, but in the comics, his daughter Natalie actually became the second version of Steel. So if he died, or at least now, honestly, since he's still alive, but at least out of commission, I would not all be surprised if Natalie becomes the new Steel. She either modifies the suit or makes her own, and she goes into battle alongside Superman and possibly the Super Boys with Jordan and Jonathan, which is something I'm really looking forward to seeing. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see it. But guys, anyways, that was Superman and Lois Season 2, Episode 4. I am so looking forward to Episode 5, but unfortunately, it doesn't come out until February 22nd, which is 3 weeks away. You know, I always hate when you get in a groove here of, like, weekly episodes, and then all of a sudden there's, like, a 3 or 4 week break. At least it's not like last year with Superman and Lois, where we had, like, a 3-month break for the show. That was not fun. But yeah, 3-week break also kind of sucks since, like, you know, today's like the first day of February, so I like just wrote on my calendar like, oh, Superman and Lois, new episode every single Tuesday this month, and now it's only one other Tuesday this month that we're getting a new episode, so I gotta cross off a bunch of stuff there. But either way, I'm definitely excited for it, and I had a lot of fun with tonight's episode. But guys, let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. What did you think about Superman and Lois Season 2, Episode 4? So guys, thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video and hit the subscribe button so I can keep you up to date on everything that goes on in the DC life.